Ladies and gentlemen, I normally do not accept these kind of invitations because if I accept one such invite, then there is some kind of a pressure that gets built that I should go and accept other invites as well. But when Karuna ji, who's the wife of my old colleague and an officer whom I hold in high regard and whom I have worked with earlier, Rajiv Jain, when she met me and outlined the thought behind this show, I couldn't resist myself from accepting her invite and to be here today amidst you and to partake this beautiful exhibition. What struck me most when she met me was this very thing that she just told you, that here you are seeing art not by renowned people, renowned artists whom we all know of. She mentioned the Hussein and the Souza, but here we are seeing art of people who hopefully maybe 5 years from today, 10 years from today, will be the new Husseins and the new Souzas of India. And these are the kind of initiatives, therefore, which are so important, that they encourage this talent, they create the right environment for people who have the creativity to express themselves through art, to showcase their work to the most distinguished audiences of the capital city of Delhi, and to earn a name for themselves and create a market for their works and go on to bring laurels not only to themselves but also to the country. And we in the Ministry of Culture welcome these initiatives, and therefore, because this is a bottoms-up approach to art, of course there is displayed here also the art of very distinguished artists, but that is not all the work of art that you see here. She herself mentioned that the youngest artist who's on display here is mere 14 years of age. And so this eclectic mix of creativity is what is absolutely commendable, and this is something which we have to encourage. And that's why, as representative of the Ministry of Culture, I'm here amidst you all. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that India will be a developed country, will be in the ranks of what is known as a developed world with a per capita GDP above $10,000 very soon from now. We are already seeing all the enabling conditions of that happening on the ground today. Our Honorable Prime Minister speaks of Viksit Bharat, which is a journey that we have all embarked on, and all of us are a part of this endeavor to make India once again take her rightful place in the Committee of Nations. As we develop, art and artistic expressions are bound to become more and more important. As the economy flourishes, as per capita incomes of people rise, the demand for art products goes up simultaneously. It is an established fact of history, and therefore we are seeing a future which is absolutely bright for art and artists and creative endeavors of all sorts. In the Ministry of Culture, anticipating this turn of events, which is already upon us in some way, through our own fledgling initiatives, we are also trying to create the right ecosystem for art and artists. For the first time ever in this country, the Culture Ministry organized a 3-month-long Art, Architecture and Design Biennale. This was held in the beautiful environment of the Red Fort. It was inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister. And what is most commendable is, and this is nothing, the credit does not go to us, it just goes to the fact that art and art products are going to get consumed in much greater magnitude. And we had displayed the works in this Biennale of artists whose works you will see displayed here. You know, coming up young, not that famous yet, but well on the way to famedom. And those were the people who were on display in the Biennale. As I told you, it lasted for 3 months, to be exact about 115 days, if you subtract the holidays. And we saw a footfall of around 9.5 lakh people, almost a million. Of that number, 50,000 were foreigners, and about 9,20,000 were domestic spectators, Indians who had come to see this Biennale. We were told that, we must go and participate in Venice and in the Islamic Art Biennale and in the Sharjah Biennales, which we do. It's not that we don't do that. But even if you take the Venice Art Biennale, which is the biggest artistic event in the world today, it goes on for 197 days. And the total footfall in this year's Venice Biennale was 8 lakhs. We did our first Biennale in India, 115 days, roughly 60% in terms of duration, and got 20% more footfalls. And that shows the kind of future that these kind of events, one example of which is what we are seeing here today, is going to be in this country. And through the government, through efforts outside the governments, like the ones which are on display here, we must encourage young artists. We must encourage people to take up art and not just to go on the age-old paths of, competitive examinations and doing something which doesn't please them, but because those are the only options. The other thing that we are doing is, startups are a very big thing in the country. We are the third largest startup community in the world. But there are very few culture startups. There are very few art startups. I've been in this ministry for 2.5 years, and I've been met by not less than 100 young people, the kind of which I'm seeing here today, who have beautiful ideas, who have the gutso and the spirit and the energy to create startups of their own, but who do not have linkages to the market, who do not have the requisite startup funding. So we are going to start verticals on creative economy, where we will be taking up incubation of culture startups. And that is our way of encouraging young and dynamic people to go down this path, which, as I've mentioned 2-3 times earlier, is going to be a big thing for India today. Through our institutions, the National Gallery of Modern Arts and the Lalit Kala Academy and the Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts, we are undertaking multiple other endeavors. I don't have time and space today to talk about all of them. But just for an example, the NGMA stopped buying art about 10 years ago. And so the fate of artists was willy-nilly left to select few private sector galleries and private sector gallerists. Not necessarily people who have a democratic approach, not necessarily people who involve the entire sort of, ecosystem. So we have decided that through the NGMA, we will resume this practice of buying art. Again, not from established artists, all of them, but also to encourage young, innovative, creative talents. So through the ministry, we will be doing a lot of things to encourage this ecosystem. And what we want is that initiatives like this, because 1,000 flowers have to bloom to create the kind of ecosystem that Bharat needs. So initiatives like these also need to flourish. I'm so happy that this has happened here today. Of course, I compliment Mrs. Jain and the Samagam Art Fest. And I also express my appreciation to the Delhi-based startup Canvas Arts, who have created this stimulating ecosystem. I wish you all the very best, and I hope this exhibition is a big success, and we have opportunities to collaborate with you formally, informally in the days ahead. Thank you very much.